continue on to the module system. And here we are going to go through the basics of the module system, which is what is used on basically all the HPC centers in Sweden. There are some minor differences, but it's really minor. And if you know how to find the modules on one of them and know about the possible small differences, then you can easily find it on another one of them. So we'll also look at the most used commands and then show you simply how you find existing modules. So most of the software that are installed at the centers are accessed by loading them as a module. And that means you need to know about them in order to access it. There will be some software that you can access without loading. Most of those you shouldn't use because there will be newer ones as modules. So you need to find the modules. So modules, they are used to set up your environment. That is, it will be setting up the paths to the executables, to libraries, etc., for using a particular set of software packages. And it's a tool to help you manage the Unix or Linux shell environment. It allows a group of related environment variable settings to be made or removed dynamically. And it has the advantage that you can have multiple versions of a program or package available by just loading, unloading, loading. And that is very useful because, for instance, compilers can be different to install in different versions otherwise. They are also installed in hierarchical layout, that is, at some of the centers. At other centers, they will have a more flat structure, but it only means that the prerequisites will be loaded directly with the module at those centers. So some centers have prerequisite modules you need to load, others the center loads it with the module. And yeah, we will look at that. Many of the centers use LMOD modules written in Lua. It's not important, but it's good to know. And many use easy build, at least for some of the modules, which is a way of installing them from a recipe that you can download. PDC also has some containers found here in Singularity Hub, but it's probably Aptainer they have installed, but you can use the Singularity commands. Lumi has no modules, uses containers. The new Arrhenius system will have a combination of modules and containers. Again, as I said before, don't use system, GCC, Python, etc. Use the module, it's newer. And it may also be set up correctly and have packages and libraries and things. Sometimes the center will have used a different capitalization. Python, for instance, could be Python with small lowercase letters, or Python with a capital letter to begin with. So if you don't find what you're looking for, try change the capitalization. If the center has the modules hierarchically, that's LUNARC, HPC2N, and PDC, you need to use module spider. Module avail is a command that only lists what's available from what is currently loaded. If software cannot be found, if you think it's actually missing and you need it, please ask us. It's likely we can install it unless it has really horrible licensing and we have to pay a lot. So then maybe you need to have a license. But ask us. So let's look at the useful commands. And these are some of the most important ones. There are a few more, but I think you will get by just fine with these. So module spider is recommended for centers with hierarchical layout. And I have found that some of the other centers, you also sometimes get useful information from Module Spider that is better than Module Avail. But at those centers, use Module Avail first, and if it doesn't tell you enough, try Module Spider. See which versions exist of a specific module. You do that by saying Module Spider, and then the name of the module, for instance, Python or MATLAB. Then it will list the available modules. Module can usually be shortened to ML in these commands. And this command here is recommended always at these centers here. And at the others, start with module avail. Prerequisites, if any, we will get if you say module spider, the name of the module, and the version. So I'm now going to say module spider here on the PDC. And it will give me a long list, as you can see here, of what they have installed. You can exit this with a Q. I am also going to just try and say module spider Python. And it tells me there are some Python modules available. Now this is Dadel, and here there's also Cray Python, which often is the one that you want to use. So let's say module spider Cray Python. And then it tells us there are 3 versions of that. And as I said, you want to see what prerequisites are there. You do that by saying module spider. You take then the module, which is in this case Cray Python. And then you also pick the version. So let's take 3.11.7. And then it tells me this module can be loaded directly. That means I just say module load Cray Python and then the version. And also it will sometimes list if there are some modules included or some packages included. Module avail, if you are at UPPMAX or NSC and to some degree C3SE, you will get a list of all available modules with module avail. You can also use module avail at PDC or some of the other centers, but then you only get listed the things you can load directly. And at PDC, that is, as you can see, a number of different small programs, whereas many of them are actually compilers and things like this, and compiler libraries. So as I said, loading a module, you do that with module load. We can also do module list or ML that shows you what's already loaded. Now this is PDC, so there is a lot of modules loaded, which are things that are needed to make the software environment work correctly. So don't remove them. If I say module load Cray Python and then 3.11.7, for instance, then it loads it. Then I say module list, or I will show you ML, which is the same here. We now have Cray Python loaded as well. So you can see there is one more module loaded. In some cases, many modules get loaded when you load a module. So, and then you can see that on the list here. So you could load the module without giving a version. Normally, you should always give a version because the default one could change under your feet when the center installs a newer version, and then maybe things are not working exactly as you remember it because there is now a new version and maybe something is different. So it's always good to load the specific version. If you are removing the module, you say module unload and then the name of the module. In this case, it was create Python and it was 3.11.7. So now we no longer have it and we only have the system modules that we had before. To get some information about the paths, etc. of a module, you can use module show and the name of the module. And you can also use module help and the name of the module. These things may give more or less information depending on the type of center. If it is a center that has a hierarchical layout, you may need to load prerequisites first. If you want to unload all modules except the sticky modules, you can see here it's talking about sticky modules. Then you can use module purge. Do not do it at PDC because it removes the majority of these system required modules. So don't use module purge at PDC. At all other centers, it's fairly safe. And at many centers, it's recommended because it removes all the modules instead of you having to do it one by one. There's module collections, which you can use to save a collection. We will look more at that later, but as we will look more at all the commands. But the idea is that you load some module and then you say module save, give it a name, and then next time you log into the system, you can just say module restore and the name of the collection you created. That means it loads all the modules that were loaded at that time. And that is what is recommended to do instead of putting module loads into your bash RC. Instead, use module collections. Okay, so let's go ahead and look for some existing modules. And as I said, module spider at these, module avail at these. You may sometimes find that in order to be told exactly how to load something or what versions are there, module spider works better. But start with module avail. And I would very much like you to now test it. So you will have logged in to your center. Then try, say, module spider if you're at one of these centers. And try, say, module avail at this center here. Or try both commands at the centers here. Module spider can be slow at UPPMAX. And I'm not sure it's so bad anymore as it was at the previous cluster they had. But I think there's still some because, well, maybe Björn will talk.
It's Bianca that has this problem because it's
Bianca still has it, yes, of course, because Rackham had it before also, but Pelle doesn't really. So yeah, always remember you can just write ML instead of module in these commands, so a little bit shorter. This is just an example from one of the centers. I just showed you how it looked at PDC. And I also showed you this, but now I would like you to try these commands. So I will again type them very slowly. I'm just sitting here and testing if there's GrowMax at PDC. There is indeed GrowMax at PDC. So let me try and find out how I load a specific version. So let's pick this one here, for instance. And it tells us in order to load it, you need to load all the prerequisites here. In general, there are some prerequisites at PDC that are called PDC or PDC old, which simply contains some compilers and stuff. And I think this is the newest one installed here, yes. Otherwise, let's say module spider PDC and see what we get. Then we get PDC 2411, which is the newest one. But for the other one, for some of the older modules, you use PDC old. But it will tell you which one to load. Yeah, use module avail if you're at these centers. And yeah, you can also shorten it to MLAV. And then it lists the modules available. In either case, you get a very long list of all the many modules that are installed. And of course, just like you can do module spider on the specific software, you can do module avail on the specific software at the centers that have a flat structure. You can always test it. I mean, if you don't find anything with one of them, try the other one. If you feel that it's a very short list and you used module avail, you are probably at a center where you need to use module spider. Since module avail then only show you what you can load given what you have already loaded. And let's take this exercise here before I continue to the next chapter. So if you have already tested it, it's fine. If you haven't, then go ahead and try and see if you can find these 4 software modules to see if they are installed. And you can also try and change the capitalization of them and see if it still finds them. Some of the centers will make it so that you find them regardless of the capitalization, and others where you have to type the specific capitalization. So GROMAX has to be capital letter, for instance. But you can always try. So let's take 5 minutes and let you do this exercise.